that the emotions which they are telling us, if we give the remedy for that emotion, it works.
Mm,
But then many a times it keeps coming back, the same complaint keeps coming back, and then we have to dig down deeper to find out a deeper emotion which is there. So
right.
this is the second case where the person is very dynamic and doing everything, but the deepest emotion was Centauri. And I gave her Centauri, and the day before she's saying me, I'm feeling so happy and good from inside that I'm not used to feeling so happy.
Ah, mm,
So she said, I don't believe that I'm feeling so lighter. So she has been taking the remedies from me for a while now, for the past few months, and she has been feeling good. But she said this time it is like out of the
right.
uh, whole thing, So this was something which is
Thank you. Thank you so much for that share. And the very first line that you said was so important, that if we give remedies for the emotion that the person is talking about, the person is complaining about or mentioning, then it really works. I keep reminding people time and again about the very first and the most important philosophy of Dr. Batch, or the system, is simplicity. And it simply means that, like the example that we share, that he wanted it to be so simple that if a child was thirsty, the mother knew that she had to reach for water. There is nothing beyond that. And that's exactly how he wanted us to use batch, that if somebody says, I am feeling a certain way, there is a remedy for that certain emotion. And if you use that, the person 100% will feel a change. And then, of course, the peeling layers is when that layer peels and the deeper emotions come out, the type remedies are recognized. That is when the effect is that much more stronger or permanent. But all of this becomes a little hazy when we put our complex reasoning, understanding, analysis in there, and we start try and question that no, the person is saying he's hurt, but then he may not be hurt, there's something else. Or the person is saying he's angry, but he may not be angry, there's something else. The person is saying that, they're thinking about old trauma or thinking about childhood trauma, but then we say, no, 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 it's not that. They're just trying to, hide or conceal. And we complicate things. And that is when we find it that much more difficult to see results or to see the effects. And then we blame the system and we question the remedies and we make the person question the remedies as to do they actually work. So thank you so much, Renuka, for that share, because it's very important that, people who are using the system, people who are practicing it, it comes from them, that it is as simple as addressing the mentioned emotion and seeing a result.
Hi, Arthi. I have something to share.
Yes.
This year, I had few students, 10th appearing students for batch remedies. And I'm very happy to say that all of them have scored really very well. And each student's case, you can say, or the background, the circumstances were so different. But
Hmm.
as you rightly said, I just gave them batch remedies. And I really was ensuring that nothing else is required, and so all of them has scored very well. So the confidence which really gets instilled, I would say, in them, and their families are happy too. So this is the, I think that they start trusting this system, and this is the real magic, I would say, in this era.
Absolutely. Lovely. Thank you so much. And can
Yeah.
I quickly ask you, so the several 10 standard students that you had, please tell me that each one of them had a different combination, or was it the same
Yes,
combination that
no, no different combination, because one student was very bright, but the story was that her elder brother has CP, that is cerebral palsy.
worked?
So maybe, as we say, that the third means the sibling shouldn't become the third parent.
Right.
So the circumstances were different. Then the mother was anxious that this student is very bright. Then one student was, you can say, not so good at
Mm.
studies. Okay, so the confidence level and everything was different. One student, the expectations from that student himself were too big, you can say. The parents were not pressurizing. So each student required a different combination.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you so much. So, so
Yeah,
much
thank
for
you.
all the people who keep advertising about exam portions and exam formulas and migraine formulas. So, no formulas really work. There is no one formula that runs for everybody. Each person is very unique and each one has a very unique combination, and that is when it works. Thank you. Thank you so much, Meena, for sharing that.
Yeah, I have one question regarding type
Yes.
remedies.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so, is it possible for a person to have two to three type remedies at a time? I
Certainly,
mean,
certainly.
okay,
It is
okay.
possible for one person to have more than, in fact, more than two type remedies also. It is also
Mm,
possible that with the effect of the peeling of the layers of emotions,
mm,
a type remedy eventually changes to become something else. So, for example, a lot of times there is a conflict between agrimony centauri existing together, or a
mm,
beach and a vine existing together. It is quite possible that first the person was a centauri, and then when the centauri starts working, you see a layer of agrimony coming up, or you see a layer of chicory coming up, or then centauri chicory exists together. So it's absolutely possible. There is no rule about having one type remedy throughout an entire treatment plan.
okay, thank you.
Okay, so I guess we're about 22 as far as I know. I don't think anybody else is coming on. All right, so then today's topic, interestingly, was GOSE, and I have uh kind of forgotten exactly why we had chosen GOSE last time, but I know for a fact that in many conversations there was a lot of confusion that came with GORSE. You know, Deepika, are you trying to speak to us, or are you on a call? No, I'm sure she's not talking to us. All right. So there was a lot of confusion about GORSE, about when to use GORSE exactly, when to identify that it is, like a dead end, or then it's a sweet chestnut phase. So we're going to quickly go through GORSE, and if I'm sure we'll have time to kind of compare it with what sweet chestnut also is. Okay. So my usual regular readers are absent today, but does anybody have a Bad Center recommended book that they would like to read from? Otherwise, I have the Wigmore and I have the encyclopedia. So anybody else sitting with the encyclopedia or any other book? I recognize.
That's Philip Chancellor, Illustrated Handbook of Bachelor Remedies.
Okay,
I
and
also
still a
have.
little wary about Philip Chancellor, but we will still give it a chance. Um, okay, anybody else with anything else?
I
I
also
have
have
one
the
book.
encyclopedia.
Okay, we have encyclopedia, Philip Chancellor. Jason, what do you have?
Again, the same writer of the encyclopedia, but a different book called The Bachelor Therapy.
Oh, that's interesting. So why don't we have GORSE from there, because I've never read that one. Encyclopedia keeps coming time and again. And we can have
Mhm.
Deepika read from the Philip Chancellor book. And I will start with the basic introduction of GORSE from the Wigmore. Okay. So let's have the Wigmore, and then Metal Scheffer, and then Philip Chancellor. Hi, Akshika. Nice to see you. Okay, then. All right. So if anybody wants to, this book is actually not in publication anymore, but it's been my Bible for the last 15, I can't believe it, 15 years. So this is the 30 Flower Remedies, an introduction and guide to flower remedies. We have popularly always called it Wigmore because it was Wigmore Publications. It's a book, sorry, can't see. It's a book by the Nelson's Pharmacy in UK, and I don't know why they stopped making these, and I don't know why they don't have a soft copy of this, but this is my prized possession. This is something that took me through, I think, right from level one to all my teacher trainings. I've never needed to read any other book, and I swear by it. Every other book that I've read has only been for my understanding and my knowledge post my exams, assessments, all of that. So, all those people who get scared of level three exams and then read out of 10 books and create a mess in their head, follow a basic book, any basic book. Even if you're catching hold of the encyclopedia, just read that one book. As long as your basic is strong, you don't need anything else. Everything else will come with experience. Okay, so I'm going to read about GORSE. And the keywords for GORSE are hopelessness and despair. GORSE is for extreme hopelessness and despair, for people who have given up the fight. They feel that there is no light at the end of the tunnel and have lost all hope. They may believe that their illness is hereditary and therefore incurable. They feel condemned to pain and suffering and do not try to get better. They may try different treatments to please their nearest and dearest, but have no faith that they will work. Dr. Batch wrote of Gorse people. They look as if they needed sunshine in their lives to drive the clouds away. The positive potential of Gorse, that is, after the person has taken Gorse, is a sense of faith and hope despite current physical or mental problems. The patient feels brighter and happier and able to use illness as a positive experience. In milder cases, he or she feels on the road to recovery. Okay, that's like a basic information on Gorse. Jason, can I request you to share the name of your book and then read from there?
It's this one.
Ah, okay.
I will just this out. Hmm. Gorse embodies the soul quality of hope. In negative Gorse state, hope has been given up. Many people in the negative Gorse state have suffered or are suffering from chronic diseases. They have had many treatments without success, and their doctors have made it clear to them that they will probably never be wholly well again. Now they have come to the end of the road in their minds and want to give up. For the sake of their families, they will agree to try this or that further method of treatment, but in their hearts, they have long since been convinced that it is no good. This mental state is very dangerous for two reasons. Firstly, the patient's negative expectations will continuously reinforce wrong programming, that is, the disease anchoring it more firmly in the body so that it can only get worse. Secondly, the personality is also offering passive resistance. It is withdrawing more and more from its higher self, an active development, becoming more and more of a living corpse. People in the negative gore state sometimes look like basement children with yellow or pale waxy faces and dark shadows under their eyes, not having seen the sun for a long time. A sensitive has described the negative gore state as one where there seems to be a thick glass pane between the soul and personality. They can still see but cannot hear each other. The unconscious error of personality again lies in a refusal to acknowledge and accept the role of higher self as a controller of its destiny. Instead of leaving the responsibility for the whole process to the higher self, trustfully going along with it, the personality puts up opposition to the process of development. Because things are not going the way it thought they would. It mentally gets off, never giving a thought to the purpose of the process it has been rejecting. Such childish attitudes are also reflected in the way many GORSE patients expect that by some miracle, everything will come right after all, instead of realizing that recovery can, in the final instance, come only from inside. People in the gore state will have to learn to come to terms with the destiny aspect of their disease process. From the esoteric point of view, these people often have a difficult karma that needs to be reformed by suffering in their present life, for real changes on the planet are achieved through suffering. If such purpose is recognized and accepted, consciously or unconsciously, the whole inner situation will change at a stroke. A person in the positive God state is able to gain new strengths and hope from deep inside and will then be ready to again follow his own destiny. This does not mean that he expects the impossible. He knows that an amputated leg won't grow again, but he will firmly hope that within the context of his destiny, all will in the end turn out right. So he moves on, despite all that besets him. He learns to bear his suffering without complaint, having realized that we often learn most through our trials and from painful experience. He thus goes through the further stages of his illness in a state of peace and without feeling hopelessness. In this early stages, in the early stages of chronic disease, this profound inner change often is the initial spark that will set a real process of healing in motion. Very often, the negative GORSE state does not appear in extreme form described above. One recognizes people in whom it is taking a more subtle form from the phrases like, I have tried everything but. Taking GORSE will, in those cases, often mark a significant turning point, with the patient entering a new cycle of development. Practitioners have reported that GORSE will encourage limb plant cuttings to root. The GORSE state is not always easy to distinguish from wild rose state. A characteristic difference is GORSE can be persuaded to try another approach to treatment, even when in despair, while as wild rose is even more passive and apathetic, no longer prepared to try anything new. GORSE key symptoms are hopelessness and despair, and oh, what's the use attitude. There are these symptoms due to energy block as well. Do you want me to read these as well? These are like the symptom lists. I'll still read them maybe. Symptoms due to energy block in GORSE. Deep inside, stagnation in the process of coming to terms with one's destiny, no longer able to hope for improvement, particularly with prolonged chronic illness. In despair because he has been told nothing more can be done. Depressed, resigned, has given up. No longer has the energy to try again. Has given up inside, waiting for something to come from outside. Allow relatives to persuade him to try another treatment against their inner conviction, then disappointed when the minor setback occurs. Looks pale, dark rings around eyes, has a long term chronic illness for years.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Any questions, any shares, any thoughts on that? Okay, let's go on to the next book and then we can discuss. Yes, Devika, you can read from yours. You're on mute.
Lynn?
I can hear you now.
No,
Yeah,
I'm not. Hi.
I just
Okay.
heard. Yeah. So you'll have to repeat.
May I please read? There's a very short bit by Lynn.
Lynn, yeah, sure. Please.
Yeah, as a tribute, So, GORSE, do you ever feel like you might just as well give up completely? That there is nothing you can do to improve your situation? And you do not believe that there ever will be? A difficulty of being in a GORSE frame of mind is that when we feel helpless and hopeless, we need someone else to push or pull us out of the state. If a friend offers possible solutions, you can find yourself agreeing to try for them, even though you might think it a waste of time. You will, however, want that friend to make the appointment, drive you there, and follow through. Dr. Batch wrote that people in a GORSE state look as if they need the sunshine in their lives to drive the clouds away, which sums up the golden yellow gorse flowers that blaze across heaths and moorland. Gorse bushes are resilient and grow after adversity, just as you will by taking the last every has written book. And I will now start illustrating.
Okay, is
Chance.
the voice
Words,
cracking
hopelessness.
for me, or did everybody else hear the last bit clearly?
I think that there seems to be some internet issue. Did you hear the word hopelessness and despair?
Yeah, so just the last line perhaps was cracking, nothing that we majorly missed. I think you were just starting to start from the
I just started.
Yeah. I've lost you again.
By Philip Chancellor. Is there still an issue?
Can you
hear
switch
you
off
now.
your video on? Read. Can you switch off your video and read?
Yeah, if you switch off your video, maybe Deepika, your voice won't crack.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
See if this is better.
Better. As of now, better.
Okay, lovely. Okay. GORSE is for those who have lost heart and suffer from hopelessness and despair after the failure of many treatments to help them. It is for those who have been told that there is nothing more that can be done and who therefore feel that they must continue to pain and suffer for the rest of their lives. But just to please a relative or friend, they will try once more.
Deepika, your voice
Although,
is
as
cracking
one
again.
patient said, I know that it. Hello?
Yeah, so again,
I'll just join from another device. Give me a
okay.
sec. Let's see if this is better.
Sounds okay as of now. You can try
Okay,
repeat.
lovely. Okay, so I'll just start from Dr. Batch said of the ghost type, they are generally sallow and rather dark of complexion, often with dark lines beneath their eyes. They look as if they needed sunshine in their lives to destroy the clouds away. The positive aspect is found in those persons who have a positive faith and hope, and a certainty that in the end they can overcome all difficulties. They are not influenced by their present mental and physical condition, nor by the advice or opinion of others. Case history: woman, age 52, married. During her interview, she said that all during her life she has been inclined to look upon the dark side of things. Now she was feeling utterly hopeless. She has given up trying or even hoping to regain her health. As a result of this negative outlook, she has suffered for years from bronchitis and colds. At night, she had the feeling of suffocation and a chronic cough. She could not sleep well and she generally awoke with a headache in the morning. She had tried every cure that she had heard of without success, and she frankly stated that she had little confidence that the remedies could help her. GORSE, the type remedy, was prescribed for hopelessness, Hornbeam to help her regain the strength to cope with life again. Her first report was encouraging. She stated that she felt brighter and less depressed and that she saw a ray of hope. Her cough had improved and she felt less fatigued. The same remedies were given for the next 2 months. This time she wrote to say that she was much more optimistic. The feeling of suffocation had disappeared and she was no longer fatigued. Furthermore, for the first time in all years, she was sleeping well. The cough remained, but she said that it was occurring at less frequent intervals. Vervain was added to the original remedies to reduce a tension and sense of strain occasioned by her having to do her own housework, whether or not she felt like doing it. She took these remedies for another 2 months, when she wrote again to say, I feel a different person altogether since I've been taking the remedies. She went to Canada and continued the treatment for another 5 months. She wrote once more to say that she felt fine and that the cough had finally disappeared. None of the former symptoms had returned. Another case study: man 51. For the last 28 years, he had suffered from psoriasis on his legs with irritation and scaling. This affliction, which has been brought about by a period of anxiety and worry, caused him great mental torture and despair of ever being cured. He was inclined to be over serious by nature. Although he did not have a sense of humor, he could not suppress a feeling. Although he did have a sense of humor, he could not suppress a feeling of disgust engendered by the disease. He was frankly hopeless of being cured, but to please his wife, he agreed to consult with us.
GORSE was prescribed for the extreme hopelessness and the long duration and stubbornness of the ailment. Agrimony to combat the mental torture the psoriasis caused him. Crabapple for the self disgust and as a cleanser of the mind and body. 4 weeks later, he wrote and said, I feel better in myself and more hopeful. My skin is less irritated than it has been in a long time, and the amount of scaling is negligible, while the sores are decreasing in size. Treatment continued for 6 months, after which time he was able to write, I have never felt so well in my life. It is almost impossible to believe that I have been cured of my long standing condition. I am getting better each day. Man, middle age. He was a true pessimist who had never expected much from life and who was continually depressed. 10 years before he consulted us, he was in the Navy. He suffered from deeply cracked skin in the winter and scaly skin in the summer. These conditions had persisted since that time, and he was quite despairing and hopeless that a cure would be found. Gorse the type remedy was prescribed for his hopelessness, crabapple to cleanse his mind and body. He reported that for the first 2 days he was sleepy and listless, but after that he began to feel more active, gaining vitality. The hands began to heal, but when the weather turned colder, he suffered a setback which discouraged him. The treatment was continued for another month when he reported that he had a feeling of general fitness and a much more lively mind and a total healing of my hands. The treatment was continued for another 2 minutes. None of the symptoms returned. There are more case studies. Is that enough, Arti?
I think good enough to give us an idea.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But thank you so much, because I do deal with a lot of cases of skin issues and psoriasis and dermatitis. And one of the main, or rather, two of the main remedies is crabapple and gorse, because uh, when anything related to the skin happens, the person first runs to the dermat. And the most common medications that are given are corticosteroids. It's only when they start experiencing side effects or the adverse effects of corticosteroids, and in fact even doctors do say that use it only for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, or don't use it more than that. And then is when they come back with the helplessness, with the hopelessness, with like you being the last resort. And by the time they come to you, I think they're already in that state of gorse where, okay, fine, I'm going to give it a try. I don't think I have, if a medicine has not cured me, then there is very little chance that your remedies are going to do anything. So the most common remedy is gorse, really. Okay. All right. I think we have enough description about gorse. I'm going to quickly read about wild rose, because that came, the word apathy came a couple of times. So I'm going to read about gorse, and for whatever it's worth, I'm going to read about sweet chestnut as well. Okay. So wild rose, where the keyword is resignation and apathy. Wild rose is indicated for those who are resigned to an unpleasant situation, whether illness, a monotonous life, or un- uncongenial work. They do not complain and are too apathetic to get well. So here you're not even complaining, or you're not even trying to get better, or you're not trying to find solutions. You just kind of, I keep saying that Wild Rose is a typical scene where somebody is just shrugging their shoulders and saying whatever. Um, Although the situations are unsatisfactory, they're not actually unhappy and make no effort to change their circumstances. This makes them rather dull as companions and unable to fulfill their potential. When ill, they're over accepting of medical prognosis, such as you must learn to live with it. So they're okay with that. If somebody says that this is it and you kind of have to live with it, they're okay with that. They'll just, again, resign to fate. They are resigned rather than depressed, at the prospect and accept life the way it is. They lack energy and ambition. So, like we keep describing in Wild Rose, that Wild Rose is where the person doesn't have the zest or doesn't have the will or doesn't have the interest in life left where they can actually do something about what's not working. That's not the case with Gorse. Gorse is somebody who's reached that state after trying a lot and is still somewhere unhappy about where they are. They've not resigned to, okay, fine, this is fate and this is how I'm going to live my life and this is what my destiny is. They're actually sad about it. They are, which is why they're feeling hopeless, which is why they're feeling that I wish that I don't live, rather than living like that. With a wild rose, the attitude is, I anyways have to live like this, so I'd rather carry on. Yeah, that is the thin line between them. So the positive potential of wild rose is a lively interest in life, work, and the world in general. Resignation gives way to ambition and a sense of purpose, good health, and enjoyable friendships. Positive wild rose people accept responsibility for their own lives and circumstances and use their initiative to make changes. So they actually then want to take life in their hand and do something about it, right? Whereas Gors, like Dr. Bat said, they're people who require that sunshine in life. They've tried, it's not worked, they want to live life, but they failed at all the attempts, and which is why they're feeling depressed, which is why they're feeling hopeless, which is why they're feeling, the lack of faith in something positive to come up. Please stop me if you have any questions in between. I'm going to quickly read Sweet Chestnut as well. So, the keyword for sweet chestnut is extreme mental anguish, right? Sweet chestnut is for agonizing mental anguish, described by Dr. Batch as the hopeless despair for those who feel they have reached the limit of their endurance. It may take the form of intense sorrow. Sufferers can feel almost destroyed by it. Dejection is accompanied by a sense of loneliness and the feeling that the future is bleak and utterly hopeless. People in need of sweet chestnut may feel on the point of a nervous breakdown, though not suicidal. They may be feeling that God has forsaken them. This state may follow a bereavement or years of difficulty suffered bravely and uncomplainingly. So, somebody who's gone through something for many, 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 many years, yeah, and has endured it, has gone through the pain, and now is feeling like, okay, perhaps this is it. I'm starting to accept that there is no future left to me. The positive potential of sweet chestnut is liberation from despair and despondency, though extreme circumstances may not have changed. They can now be faced with optimism and peace of mind. This may be aided by the discovery or recovery of faith in a higher power and a sense of inner support. So, the positive for Goss and sweet chestnut may be a little similar, right? But the state is very different, where Gorse has completely given up and stopped trying. Sweet Chestnut is still trying and is saying that I'm going to get there very soon. I'm very soon going to reach a point where I'm going to be extremely hopeless, right? Anybody who's tried or given Gorse very recently? Simran says, can we say Sweet Chestnut is more emotional, vulnerable? Emotionally vulnerable both could be Sweet Chestnut and Gorse. So a Gorse has not become stubborn and saying, okay, no matter what, I will not try. Like the description says, that if their loved ones, if their families say, okay, fine, let's try one more doctor, they will kind of give in to, making people happy. But internally, they've kind of lost that faith that anything can help them now. No, so Ranjani, yeah, Sweet Chestnut will try, but Gorse will not. Gorse will not try more than that. Again, internally, they have already decided that even if they're going to try, they are going to be met with failure. It's not going to work for them. Whereas Sweet Chestnut is hopeful. They're still, they're still looking out for that positive change.
So
Okay.
On a continuum, if we put gorse, sweet chestnut, and wild rose, would we put sweet chestnut first and then gorse and then wild rose?
For sure, sweet chestnut first and then gorse. Wild rose, yeah, I guess wild rose would be a more tougher thing to work on because in any situation, they're like, they've just accepted it. So they would ideally look like somebody who's just sitting and waiting for, death to just come and knock at the door.
So, if, for example, there's somebody who's wishing that I should only be dead, that would be a wild rose,
I would.
waiting for annihilation.
Okay, so gorse is I'm just waiting for my last day. Okay. Wild rose would be even if I have to be met with my last day tomorrow, it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. And if I have to live for another 10 years like that, I'm okay with that also. But a gorse is saying, I don't want to go on like that for another 2 years also.
And what about sweet chestnut?
Sweet chestnut is, I don't want to reach that stage where I have to accept this as my fate. I want some change. I want some, uh, relief, some way out.
Right.
Right. Anybody with any share, any question, any doubt? Okay, for some reason, I still like the description of gorse in the encyclopedia. Anybody has the encyclopedia? Deepika, yes. Sorry, you'll have to perhaps shut your camera and then read again in case your net is still
Sure, sure. I can do that.
lovely. Thank you.
Even I love this book.
It is. I think the when I read the encyclopedia, the descriptions are very simple and just so clear.
How do you think of Philip Chancellor?
Well, I will be honest, I'm a little influenced by how perhaps Angela Lynn, the Bad Center, thinks. Philip Chancellor is an excellent authority on the remedies, but then there are some philosophies he kind of goes at a tangent, you know. So then that if you are if your basics again, if your basics are great, if you know exactly what the remedies are, then you can read any of Philip Chancellor's books and they're lovely. But if you're starting off, then that can kind of confuse you, you know. But otherwise, his work is brilliant. So the whole idea of the catalyst remedy comes from Philip Chancellor. And because it is such a recommended book, which is that is why it is a part of level 3 and the catalyst is explained. Because then if somebody is going to go to read Philip Chancellor, then that's something that they're going to encounter. Okay, Deepika, over to you.
Sure. Gorge the hope flower from giving up to going forth. Very great hopelessness. They have given up belief that more can be done for them. Under persuasion or to please others, they may try different treatments, at the same time assuring those around that there is little hope of relief. Dr. Edward Batch. Gorse embodies a soul quality of hope. If you are in the negative gorse state, you have sunk within yourself, have let go of your aspirations, have become resigned, and have given up hope. One example might be a person who has been without work for 3 years, has had more than 50 interviews, and still has no job prospects. Another might be an individual who has courageously but futilely fought to rid himself of death and has no reason, no ideas of what to do next. Many people in the negative gore state are suffering from chronic diseases. They've tried many treatments without success, and their doctors have made it clear to them that they will probably never be wholly well again. In their minds, they have now come to the end of the road and thus want to give up. For the sake of their families, they may try this or that additional treatment, but in their hearts, they are convinced in their hearts, they have long since become convinced that it will be of no use. This psychological state is dangerous for two reasons. First, the patient's negative expectations will continue to reinforce the illness, thus anchoring it more firmly in the body, and the symptoms will only get worse. Second, passive resistance by the personality blocks off positive impulses from the higher self. People in the negative gore state have allowed themselves to drop out of active life. They sometimes look like they've been living in a basement and haven't seen the sun for a long time. Their faces are yellow, waxy pale, and their eyes have dark shadows. A sensitive woman once described her negative gauze state as one in which there seemed to be a thick piece of glass between her and her inner guidance. She was able to see it, but not hear it. The unconscious error again lies in the personality's refusal to acknowledge and accept the guidance of the higher self. Instead of leaving the responsibility of everything to the higher self and faithfully going along with the process, the personality stagnates in hopelessness. You are unable to imagine alternative solutions and resign from further attempts. Because you can't imagine other possibilities, you never consider that things might have a meaning or that there could be something positive in all negative situations. Like children, many gauze patients expect that by some outside miracle, everything will turn out right after all, instead of realizing that recovery can, in the end, only come from inside. People in the negative gauze state must learn to recognize the long unused development possibilities, pull themselves up, and seize their opportunities. Very often, the negative gauze state does not appear in the extreme form described above. Sometimes the whole process takes place on a psychological level without physical involvement. People who, in a more subtle negative state, will say things like, I've tried everything, but in this case, taking gauze will mark a significant turning point with the person entering a new cycle of development. Many people who are afflicted with a negative gauze state grew in the circumstances of great psychological limitation. They may have been there may have been economic difficulties, a long-lasting illness, or a parent or a sibling suffering from psychological disability. Everyone involved in such difficult
Pradipika, again
circumstances.
lost you. Can you please repeat the last line?
Uh, there may have been economic difficulties, a long-lasting illness in childhood, or a parent or sibling suffering from psychological or physical disabilities. GORS can be given as a supportive measure to everyone involved in such difficult circumstances. Some people begin to understand or just have a sense that it's the experience of suffering that constitutes the driving force behind change and bears the additional benefit of strengthening the character. Those who become aware of this principle or unconsciously understand and embrace it experience a sudden shift so that their inner psychological orientation becomes positive. In the positive God state, you gather new strength and hope from inside, ready to actively take part again in your own destiny. This does not mean that you expect the impossible. You know that certain circumstances can't be changed, but you'll firmly hope that everything will come together in a positive way. And so you move on despite all that besets you. You learn to bet on yourself and you learn to trust yourself.
Okay, again lost you.
Without complaint, having realized that profound learning comes from trials and painful experience. In the early stage of chronic diseases, this profound inner change is often the initial spark that will set the process of real healing into motion. Gore's key symptoms. Among these are hopelessness, resignation, and oh, what's the use attitude, behavior pattern in the block state. You're unable to imagine a change for the better. You don't dare hope for a change in circumstances. You're resigned. You're tired inside. You no longer have the energy to give it another try. You don't recognize any further possibilities. You've given up inside. You say you've come to terms with a prolonged chronic illness. You allow relatives to persuade you to try other treatments against your own inner conviction and are again resigned with the least setback. You've given up fighting for your destiny. Stagnation has taken hold deep inside. As a child, you had to overcome an extended or chronic illness. You grew up with a chronically ill person, someone, for example, with heart problems, alcoholism, or psychological problems. Even if one or two of these patterns precisely match your present situation, you need course. Positive potential, you never give up hope and are convinced that all will come out right in the end. You know it's never too late for a new start. You recognize positive opportunities in difficult situations. You're able to inspire others with your own confidence. You're a bearer of hope to others. Empowering statements. I stand tall. I'm filled with hope. I see new opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, are there any examples? All right, people, any questions? Any
Not
clarity on GORSE? Sorry, was someone saying something?
Aarti, can I just discuss something
Yes, please.
shortly? Okay. So I've been going through a thing here. Um, and like my son, he wants to go to the US and he has, applied for some universities there. We are not able to send him to the US for various reasons, and financial is one of them. And also because we feel that he's not prepared for it because he was trying to prep for the JE, then he didn't do the JE. He gave up JE. He deliberately didn't study for his HSC. He went for internships. He went for international competitions, but the regular route he's not taking, and now he's refusing to take admission to Indian schools. So considering this, I mean, I have tried all kind of remedies, but for somebody who's hearing this case afresh, is there something that I mean, I if there's something that someone would like to add in, that they have experienced something similar, that kind of rigidity, that kind of stubbornness in listening, or deliberately वो जो अपने पैर पे कुल्हाड़ी मारना कहते हैं, that kind of a situation. So
Okay, so first of all, Deepika, very brave of you to share it here. Thank you so much. And in full confidence, we will definitely take this up. Before that, before I can jump in to help Deepika, is there any question or any doubt or anything anybody wants to say about Gore's Willow, or sorry, Gore's Wild Rose or Sweet Chestnut? Okay. So I'm assuming that it was pretty clear from whatever we read. All right, now for Deepika's case, since she's been very courageous enough to come and share, can sweet chestnut gorse combination explain? Sorry, Ranjani, if you can just describe a little more in your question, what do you mean? Okay, so is
Sometimes, sometimes goes with sweet chestnut. So in which way? Maybe I just got it as a doubt. I don't know whether it is right
Um,
asking.
in any kind of a case, I would, if I'm giving a sweet chestnut, I don't think I would need gorse. If I'm giving a gorse, I don't think I need sweet chestnut. Usually, if people are combining sweet chestnut and gorse, it's like saying giving mimulus and aspen. I just want to make sure ki, at least something works. Uh, and well, maybe, when you're not well versed with remedies, that is something you can do. But once you have a clear idea about what state that person is in, if they've completely given up hope and they're not willing to try, there is no point of giving sweet chestnut. It will be gorse. But if they have been trying, if they've constantly been meeting with failures and they are now reaching a state where they're really going to give up, then it is sweet chestnut, because your sweet chestnut is also a little similar to Star of Bethlehem there, where it's kind of bandaging the trauma. Gorse is not bandaging any kind of trauma. Gorse is like, when the person is dead and you're giving them a shock to kind of revive. It's that way. That the person has completely given up and now you're bringing back hope. But in Sweet Chestnut, you're being a little more gentle, just like Star of Bethlehem. That, okay, fine, you're going through pain, and I understand that pain. You need comforting during that pain to keep that strength. So combining sweet chestnut and gorse is only a way of making sure that both my options work, or either of my options work. Yes, Arjun.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Arti, while I'm quite clear on gourds, I become a little confused with sweet chestnut. Okay.
Mm, okay.
Because
Like,
my understanding was that a person who's in a sweet chestnut phase
mm,
has gone through, has tried various things, and whatever is possible and failed at each and every instance, and
correct,
has reached an extreme state of despondency, right? Where
correct.
he really doesn't have any more options left, doesn't know what to do. That is what I understood as sweet chestnut.
Right.
So from a negative state of perspective, I would put sweet chestnut in a much more negative state than gorse. Am I correct in thinking that? Or are they totally different?
And then how would you compare that to a gorse?
While a gorse is somebody who is definitely in a hopelessness state, and because of that state, he's not even willing to try options which may be available. He may be getting pushed into trying the options, but he's not tried everything. Before that, he has reached a state of hopelessness. That is my understanding of both the remedies.
Well, you are right. You're not wrong over here. That the only statement that makes me kind of hesitate a little is when you said they may not have, a person who needs gorse may not have tried everything. Maybe, may not be. But they've lost hope. That's more important. Whereas a sweet chestnut is willing to try. So you're absolutely right over there. In terms of putting a person who needs sweet chestnut in a more serious situation, yes, because their agony is much more. Somewhere, gorse, the person has resigned to the fact that this is my fate now. So I'm going to live with it. So they may not be, the agony might be deep down,
Yeah.
so they may not be feeling it that.
But
Uh,
when you say resigned, then again the wild rose things come in, right?
so Wild Rose again resigned, but may not have completely given up hope.
Mm.
They're just not bothered to try because they may not have enough energy, they may not have enough interest, they may not have enough um, uh, encouragement or any active support to kind of go try.
Mm.
So they're okay with whatever happens. But if somebody comes and says, okay, there is like a miraculous remedy there for you, they'll not say there's no point trying. They'll say, okay, let's go and try that also. And then if that works, works. Yeah. So
Right.
I'm not gonna read the
Arti, can
entire.
I comment in? Arti, can I comment in?
Yes, yes, Ram.
Okay, so coming to, even I do have some confusion between Garth and sweet chestnut, but what I say is that GORS is, if you see the class of drug, you can understand better. I think GORS belongs to uncertainty and sweet chestnut belongs to despondency and despair. So
Yes.
sweet chestnut is more related to the current situation or current pain they're undergoing, and GORS is more related to what's going to come in the future. It's merely uncertain or hopeless. So I think if you divide that, I think you'll get a better picture of between GORS and sweet.
I was trying to find something apt to read about sweet chestnuts. I'm reading from the encyclopedia, not reading the entire passage. Typical sweet chestnut characters tend to be caught up by extreme fateful situations, and their lives can be very dramatic when compared with an average person. They experience things differently and more intensely. Some who are particularly daring may go beyond traditional mental limits and explore frontiers of consciousness. So, when I look at a sweet chestnut, the kind of person who comes in front of me is, say, somebody who has bearing the brunt of a very toxic relationship for many, many years. Somebody who's gone through abuse, somebody who's gone through verbal abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, and lives with that idea that one day things will get better. But there is, that so people stuck in, very narcissistic relationships but there is some amount of love there. Yeah. But over a period of time now, they're saying that okay, I'm gonna give up very soon. When I look at a gorse, I'm looking at medical conditions. I'm looking at financial situations, very, very, how do I put it, very left brain things that it's either I'll be fine or I will not be fine. If I'll be fine, then of course I don't need gorse, but then I don't feel that I'm going to get out of this. I don't feel that there is going to be a solution to it, which is why I feel I've reached a dead end and I'm not willing to try. That's a gorse. But sweet chestnut is more like Ram correctly said, it's more about the despondency and despair and the anguish and the pain that one is going through. So I am over here, I'm bandaging, which is why I said I'm bandaging the pain, I'm comforting the pain. Whereas gorse, I'm giving them an action because the sweet chestnut is anyways taking action. You know, in gorse, I'm giving them that action that get up and do something. It says sweet chestnut helps you to get through difficult periods of transformation without losing yourself or breaking apart in the process. The positive sweet chestnut state is the ability to trust in the higher power, however great the adversity you're experiencing. It's the moment when your cry for help is heard. So you have been trying, you have been reaching out. And with sweet chestnut, you're keeping that faith, that strength over there that, okay, don't give up. Gorse, so they've already given up. All right, then coming to what Deepika presented. So before I could jump in fact, I wouldn't want to. Is there somebody who would like to ask her more questions to understand and give options for remedies? And then we can all, of course, suggest the remedies. Yes, Ranjani.
So you mean to say sweet chestnut will try by themselves, and Gors is a person who will not like to try but will try on others, saying somebody, you please.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so where are all our practitioners? Who would like to talk to Deepika? Anybody? Come on, it's not about getting it absolutely right. We're all going to be talking about remedies.
Yeah, I mean, come on, because I've been struggling. Imagine since 2 years, I'm trying all kinds of combination, some hits and some misses.
So
So
you're
yeah.
looking for a combination for yourself?
No, I'm looking for my son.
Okay, for your son. Okay. Um, so he doesn't say anything. Does he express himself? कुछ बोलता है वो?
No,
Or
he's
just
actually
judging on your own and you're just giving him that he may be feeling this or he may. Does he say anything that?
probably no, he doesn't say anything. He feels he's like really, really smart, and that because he's smart, he deserves the best in life. And his brother is in the US doing his master's. So because my brother went to the top school, so I also deserve to be in the top school. So I will not settle for less than that. So that kind of,
Uh,
state he is in. But at the same time, he has not worked hard enough, to do his Indian exams well. So he has aced everything, that was required for the US. So whether it was his SAT or, doing his internship at TIFR, or probably, writing a research paper, participating in an international competition, he's happy to do all of that. But he's not able to come to terms with the reality of life, that look, boss, I can't go there. So if I can't go there, what is my next best option? वो next best option उसे देखना ही नहीं है. So with, the admission process starting maybe this weekend to next week, so we are like in a quandary that how do we get him on that, in that zone wherein he starts to hear what we are talking about, hear the absurdity of what he's, thinking. So, I tried clematis. I'm seeing like traces of wild rose. I tried rock water for his rigidity. I even tried this wine beach rock water combination, wherein he can't see anything good in Indian universities, and he's criticizing all the Indian universities, and he thinks only the best lies in the US. So I mean, I just
Because
somehow.
can I come in over here? There's a
Sure, sure.
fundamental problem in the approach.
Okay,
Okay, I hear a
please.
mother
Yes,
majorly judging the child. And you make
right.
absolutely right.
Oh, right, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
All the things that you said he's doing and what he's thinking about Indian system being XYZ is all your judgment of what he is, why he is saying what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Give him the remedies. We need to understand how is he feeling about the fact, one, he can't get into the US universities. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I have to kind of do a role play, so I did my best.
Hmm.
Like you said, everything that I needed for an international admission, I put in my hard work and I waste it.
Hmm.
So your words, right?
Hmm.
So I have wasted my competition, I waste my research, I waste my internship, I waste everything. In spite of everything that I could do from my end, I am being told you cannot make it,
Hmm.
right? At the same time, I see my brother who's studying over there in a top university.
Hmm.
Yet I can't go there. उसके टाइम पे तो कर दिया, मेरे टाइम पे नहीं हो.
उसके टाइम पे वो मास्टर्स के लिए गया, तो आप भी मास्टर्स के लिए जाओ.
Again, you're talking from a mother's point of view.
Yeah. हाँ. Right.
Right? I'm saying for you to give him the remedies, you need to understand what he's feeling right now.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right? So now you need to tell us what is it that he feels without judging it. If he feels my parents are unfair, that is what he feels. So if my
Right.
parents are unfair, then what am I feeling? Am I feeling sad? Am I feeling angry? Am I feeling jealous? Am I feeling
Okay.
betrayed? What am I feeling? That is
Hmm.
what is going to give you your breakthrough.
Okay.
Because if those emotions heal, then तो वो आगे का cloud हटेगा ना for him to see, okay, fine, now what can I
बिल्कुल. बिल्कुल.
once I'm
बिल्कुल.
done with my anger, once when I'm done with my grief, once when I'm done with my trauma, my setback, the feeling of failure, the feeling of whatever, then will I be able to look ahead in life? Right now, so I'm sitting feeling what I'm feeling and I'm getting judged for it.
Hmm. You're right. You're right. I never looked upon it in that perspective.
Okay, so again, now coming back from his perspective, I mean, something you must have heard. No, you must have had arguments with him, discussions with him, where he would have said, "This is what I am thinking and feeling." So give us those things now.
I have a thing. He's how old? He's 16, 17?
17.
Yeah. So, he will not talk to you and like what he's feeling, how he's feeling. He'll not have that kind of a conversation with you. Because Aarti, I have also gone through a very similar experience with my 17-year-old who's 20 years old now. उस वक्त मेरे को as a mother I'm thinking she's feeling this or she's feeling that, so accordingly I was giving her remedies, but nothing was helping. But there was a thing when I just sat her down and I showed her that chart. There's a chart. We have one word
Yeah,
remedy
yeah,
and
yeah. The
word or
emotions.
like a short line, something. So I have that in my batch room where I have my kit. So I told her, better read and tell me what do you feel, what do you think works for you. And she pointed out two things which I never thought of.
Okay.
So there has to be some way where you make him kuch to karke make him say. And
Emote.
it was a game changer. When she
Okay.
told me, I'm giving her kuch bhalta hai. Now you're giving him clematis, say for example, 19 years old. So I would really recommend, give him that little chart. I don't know if I can share it. I have a hard copy. I put it on my wall over there.
Sure.
I don't have that, but I'm sure we can find something. कुछ तो ऐसे कोई गेम खेलो उसके साथ में, या वो क्या महसूस करता है, what he's feeling is very important, Deepika. वरना
Okay.
it doesn't work. It will not work.
Right. You're right about
Exactly.
it.
That's what I said. I
Yeah.
found a fundamental problem.
Or make him
So,
talk to somebody like, maybe Aarti or me. I can volunteer to talk to him. We can, talk to him because they open up to strangers.
True,
But
true,
as a
true.
mother, our perspective is incorrect.
Yeah, I
Totally.
realized that from what Aarti told me. Yes, I'm talking from the perspective of a mother and not looking upon that
Ha.
as
absolutely. I'll tell you,
Because
when
you want him to behave in a certain way or
certain
do a
way,
certain
right?
thing.
So,
Sorry.
so I'm wearing
तो वो
blinkers here.
हमारा
Huh.
judgment हो जाता है आरती. What you're saying, I
absolutely,
agree with you completely.
absolutely. Well, example I'm going to share. It's got nothing to do with batch really, but I'll tell you how it works. When you were talking about all of this, and of course, when I think during Angela's CPDs, when Martina was sharing her experience also with her daughter. But I remember when I had just completed my college, like you said, no, he thinks Indian system is XYZ. I only wanted to do my master's outside. Simply because the subject that I had chosen did not have good rating in India. Okay, I did my master's in forensic, and now there are universities that are recommended for forensic science. But at that point of time, I'm talking about 2004. There weren't. The only option I had was Delhi, and my father was strictly against Delhi and said, "You go to hell, but you're not going to Delhi." Okay. So I was searching for options, and I had prospectus of God knows every other continent in my cupboard. Okay. And one of the most beautiful universities I had checked out in a very beautiful place was the University of Seychelles. And it was much cheaper than going to a UK university or an American university, or for that matter, an Australian university at that point of time. And I remember I did everything. So right from writing my statement of purpose to doing work in micro labs over here for my internship, which kind of correspond with forensic tests that are done by hospitals. I did it all to make sure that I even kind of cracked the scholarship perhaps of a university. Unfortunately, they did not have. And anyways, I'm going to cut the long story short. When the time came to apply for it, I was only told by my parents that boss ye nahi hota. We come from a very middle class family and these are dreams. Great, you can study, and you can not just do your masters, do your PhD and study all your life, but this is not the money that we can afford right now. So I kind of agreed to it and I said, okay, fine. But the very next week, and I remember, oh my God, I remember that scene so clearly in my house. That very next week, I was just about to enter my bedroom and I saw that my mom, dad, and my sister were sitting and talking about something. And I overheard them discussing my sister buying a new car. Trust me, for me, the scene looked like I was entering, a happy family, and suddenly your पीछे से कुछ आवाज आती है ना, and there's a very sad, old, 60s 50s ka sad, emotional Bollywood song that starts playing and your heart like breaks in 10,000 pieces. I literally took, I went in a reverse gear and I said, oh shit, what am I hearing? They are planning of buying an item which is worth lakhs. And the irony was, today I can definitely say the irony. The cost of the car and the cost for my cough was exactly the same. So my first thought was they're choosing her over me. They're choosing a car over another child's education. It was a huge thing. Anyways, what happened later was my life, my destiny, their effort, everything. Uh, but the point was at that point of time, I did feel betrayed. I felt everything possibly negative about my parents and my sister. That, I'd rather have you disown me than stay in the same house. So you have to move and, get into his shoes and think, because you're talking about giving him remedies. Otherwise, you give yourself remedies for the way you're judging him. Because at that point of time, I remember my sister had, in a way of explaining to me, she had actually gone and said, she said, when I had graduated, I wanted to go to Russia to do medicine, but that was not something we could have afforded. So I didn't do it. So you also shouldn't do it, you know. But again, for somebody who was, in between teens, entering 20s or whatever, it was very difficult for me to accept all of that. Today, when I think of it, I'm very grateful that they even took the effort. Forget Seychelles, I went to UK and I did my master's. But the time had to come, everything had to fall into place, all of that. But what I felt then, I'm sure, created a lot of things in me physically, emotionally, mentally. And today, when you sit in judgment of he thinks ki acha, universities in India or the education quality is bad or it's not worth it or all of that, you are actually undermining what he's going through. Because I'm sure if he's thought about and he's put in so much effort for an international university, along with those efforts, there's a lot of investment in terms of emotions from his end. So you'll have to manage all of that first. And then only then can he see what is over here. No, because you're saying, ठीक है, हाथ पैर कट गया, अभी चलना सीख लो. वो ऐसे नहीं चलना सीख सकता ना. You have to prepare him for that. So I think what Matina said was a brilliant idea that, if he's willing to speak to somebody, nothing like it.
Sure.
And secondly, if you have to give him the remedies and rather than talking, because again, see, when he's going to start talking, it's very natural that it's going to agitate you.
Hmm.
See, how are you even saying this? We know what we've put you, we know what we've put, or the kind of efforts we've put in raising you or whatever. Right? So have him speak to somebody else or then give him this and say, okay, read these remedies, check the keywords. If he picks up on 3 4 remedies, give him a book and ask him to read the longer explanation of those remedies. And if
Sure.
it's well, start him on that. And again, don't tell him that you're doing this so that he gets over this situation. There is no getting over.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is in order for him to deal with this situation the way he can.
Hmm.
Okay. After
Sure.
that, then if he chooses ki I will still skip 1 more year and put in extra hard work and do whatever, then that's his call. And you have to respect.
Sure. Sure. Thank you. It's been a very different perspective. Now, it's just different when you're dealing with clients. It's different when you're dealing with your own
Absolutely.
person. That's the reason why I thought let me throw it up, because for
No, thank
somebody
you.
who's listening to it for the first time would and you rightly pointed out, I was like a complaint box, and I'm feeling that way right now. So you said, yeah, beach, yeah, so I should beach and
Well,
chickens.
there's a reason I say that do not treat your own family. It's very
Yeah,
difficult.
yeah,
That's one.
absolutely.
Secondly, when you were speaking about it, you were not, when I heard it as a practitioner, I heard a client. I did not hear somebody presenting another client's case.
Yeah,
I heard you complaining about things. I heard
yeah,
you being in a certain
right,
need of him to accept.
right, absolutely.
And maybe then
I
you
need,
should put
maybe I
your
need the
remedy.
remedies more than him.
More or less, I can't judge that, but
Whatever.
for sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe we can just see what you're taking so that to begin with, like a beginning what you're taking, so we can, brainstorm and
Yeah.
introduce some remedy which is not,
Sure, that'll
you're
be
not,
good. Just give me a sec. I'll pull out my book. Yeah.
yeah. Aarti, we should do these kind of sessions also where, somebody is stuck with themselves or family members or whatever.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that was my whole idea when I said we'll have these sharing circles. It is about bringing in cases where, because we all meet with a dead end, no, when we're dealing with somebody very,
Yeah.
very close to us, there are blind spots.
And your own self as well.
Absolutely.
Aarti, can I ask something?
Yes, please.
Yeah, actually, being a medico, we are seeing a lot of cases not coming to my clinic every time. Dementia patients are on rise. Okay. And since it is a cognitive decline, it is very difficult unless they are in the initial stage to take out what their feelings are. Then in such cases we have to rely on the family members entirely.
Yeah.
So is it a good way to ask their family, because it's going to be again their perspective, right? So how to go about all this?
Well, in cases of dementia, Alzheimer's, autism, um, any kind of mental retardation, well, I don't like the word retardation, but mental deterioration, unfortunately, we have to depend on the primary caregivers because the subject in concern will not be able to share as much.
Hmm.
So we will have to base our analysis on what the caregivers are saying, and like what we just did with Deepika, right? It is very natural that they might first come with judgments. Yeah, it's like so this morning I was having a conversation with a friend, and I was telling him that I'm getting a little irritable and concerned as well because I said I want my mom to stop working as much as she's working now because she's become very accident prone. And I said it in a very criticizing way. That was not the whole intention. But my irritation, I think yesterday I was speaking to Matina about the same thing, that my irritation is don't work, you're going to hurt yourself, you know. But it came in a way of that, she's forgetting the gas switches now, or she'll try. And so she had an accident 4 days ago where, she picked up an entire utensil of boiling water and she spilled it all over herself. So, of course, initially we ran with
Oh.
a lot of care and concern. She's covered herself in second-degree burns right now, but since morning, she's cooking today. So, and which is why I was very irritated. And I was telling my friend that I said, she just doesn't stop. And, she'll now her grip is not as strong. So I was coming from a very judgmental perspective again. That why should she do it when she knows that her grip is not strong anymore? But if I have to step into her shoes, I'm sure, and why sure? She keeps saying this 10,000 times that you all are all working, and in her head, this is the work that she was born for, that, taking care of the family, taking care of the children, irrespective of how old the children are. So she's feeling guilty about the fact that now she can't do things that she could do 20 years ago. Yeah. But only when I talk about these things and talk about what she says, am I coming out with her feelings. Like the guilt, the irritation that I can't do things anymore, or the guilt of sitting and not doing anything, or the helplessness of calling somebody and saying, can you do this for me? How many times am I going to call out to you? Is what she constantly says. Yeah. So when we are talking to caregivers of people who are dependent, we will have to steer the conversation and keep bringing them back to, but what does that person say or feel? Or what does that person do? Or why is that person still doing what they're doing? Rather than coming from a very critical perspective. But yeah, the straight answer to the question is that we will have to depend on them because unless there are phases when these people can talk about emotions, I know for a fact, I mean, my touch wood, my mom doesn't have any of these mental conditions, but if I sit to talk to her about emotions, nothing will come out. Nothing will come out. Yesterday, that same friend asked her, so, how are you doing? Feeling very brave now that your entire body is covered with burns. She said, हाँ ठीक है होता है, happens, all my life it's happened. I'll recover. This happens very fast. So my sister called her up to tell her that let's go to the doctor. You might just need antibiotics if there is a secondary infection because it's a severe burn. She said, no, no, my skin heals very fast. So there are no emotional words that come out. So most of the time my remedies are all based on assumptions with her. Yes, Deepika, are you back?
Yeah, so I took oak for myself because I felt like I'm so exhausted. I felt under say my soul is exhausted. So this word oak was coming to me again and again. So I added oak. I took holly. I took sob, mimulus, red chestnut, beech, and vervain. So I took oak for my exhaustion, holly for my anger, Star of Bethlehem because I've thought, I've frozen in a place wherein I feel I don't know what to do. Mimulus for this real fear of, अगले हफ्ते वो कहीं admission लेगा कि नहीं. Red Chestnut from worrying about him and, what are the future prospects. Beach because, I mean, I am feeling in that state of, complaining and criticizing. And Vervain because I realized that I have this sense of righteousness, maybe. So it's a different form of being judgmental, perhaps. But I have these very strong sense of, this is how it should be or whatever. So that's that.
And
Yeah.
after taking it, how many days since you've been taking it?
This particular mix I've been taking now
Deepika?
since. Hello? Hello, can you hear me now? Hello?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
Deepika, please go on.
Yeah, yeah.
We can
I
hear you.
I I have,
Huh.
just I've started this particular
Deepika?
mix around a week ago. Hello? I've started this mix a week ago and
Okay.
I am
Yeah, yeah.
at least my exhaustion is feeling a little better. My I get these bouts wherein I feel suddenly very relaxed, but I am seriously a bit anxious about what the next week holds. I also thought maybe I need to add maybe a scleranthus or a serrato to it.
Why scleranthus and Serato?
Uh, Scleranthus because basically I feel I'm not getting into that decision making mode wherein I'm constantly wondering uske liye kya acha hai and whether this college that college the entire night me and my husband are just discussing colleges. So somewhere and I used to be a very intuitive person and I never needed to ask anybody, but I'm feeling Lord, show me the answer. So it's like that voice is not coming from within, so I'm hoping to awaken my inner voice. तो मुझे कल से ऐसे लग रहा है कि add Serato and Scleranthus.
But why Serato and scleranthus is my question. Serato,
हाँ,
okay, I get it.
and Scleranthus because sometimes I feel हाँ यार बच्चा इतना होनहार है इसे भेजना चाहिए. Then I'll say नहीं नहीं ये mature नहीं है, he's not fit to go right now. Maybe a year or two later. And so me and my husband, kabhi kabhi हमारा दिल पसीज जाता है if he's asking us so many times, and we feel, yeah, uh, we know that he will do well also, but then at the same time we don't know, you've not proved yourself here, so we feel यहाँ तो क्या, a child who got 98, almost 99 in his 10th is getting 68 in his 12th, because you don't want to do well. So tomorrow you might not want to do well in something there. What is the guarantee you will perform well there also? So you prove me that you deserve to go. You prove that you are worth it for us to put all our wealth into you. So that kind of ये रोज ऐसे होता है, कि and because he's so adamant about not taking the HSC again, because when the HSC exams was, he was writing his research paper, he was participating in that international competition, he came as a finalist. But so I said, okay, we are supporting you for this. And then he said, मैं अच्छे से नहीं कर रहा हूँ, I will give the re-exam. अब re-exam का time आया, तो he doesn't want to take the re-exam. He deliberately, bungled all his Indian exams. So I said, वहां पर अगर something comes up, हमारे घर, it's happening in front of our eyes, we can see what's happening. If it's happening there, then I'll be concerned that you shut yourself up. Okay, I miss telling you all this, that he got a lot of admits from a lot of colleges, and he did not share it with us. So he and his brother are talking amongst themselves. So we are like कि अब यहाँ रहकर they are being secretive about things. तो वहाँ रहकर what do we know, where what we are landing ourselves into. So when I'm thinking these two flipping thoughts constantly, is when I thought maybe I need a Serato for a certain part ki the
White chestnut, red chestnut, chicory, these are the things that I hear.
yeah.
And too much anxiety. I
Too
also
Yeah.
much,
see
too much
there is too
control as
much.
well.
Mm.
And when I heard her first, like she was telling, I felt a lot of chicory in her. I
Yeah.
don't know, matlab,
Yes,
because
there certainly is.
it's love, but it's a conditional love. So maybe the child also needs chicory, even if he can also think कि whatever I've done, I've not got, मतलब whatever, मतलब maybe he was
सब जिद में
listening to
बैठे हुए हैं यहाँ पे,
time to
mom, dad, बच्चा, everybody sitting in that.
नहीं होता है जैसे होता है मैंने सबकी बात इतनी सुनी but they are
Exactly.
not understanding me. So a lot of chicory, what I could sense, just this one remedy can help you so much कि when you take chicory ना तो कहते हैं एकदम open, आप एकदम open arms की तरह उसको भेज पाओगे, कुछ भी वो करेगा, वो भी जहां जाएगा there will be no doubt कि वो करेगा या नहीं करेगा. So चिकरी आप जरूर ट्राई करो.
Thank you so much. मैं भी सोच रही थी, पर मैंने डाला नहीं था अभी तक, but
No,
Because
yes.
हम
actually,
खुद
chicory big
रियलाइज नहीं
time,
कर
because
पाते हैं कि हमारा लव
certain,
कितना बाउंड कर रहा है. Sometime it's like holding the loved one so much.
You're
sometimes no, it is.
हाँ.
Yeah,
Us
it
being a
is.
real centaurian and sugarcoating everything, but it's your lines where you said कि हमारे सामने ऐसा कर रहा है तो उधर जाके क्या करेगा?
हाँ,
How
हाँ.
much are you going to, you can't put a camera on him.
Right.
And you're giving
Absolutely.
him that energy and that vibe of I don't trust you enough, which is why I'm punishing you.
Hmm.
So imagine what the child is receiving in terms of energy from you,
So
True.
true.
and
So
And
true.
एक
you
वो
will be
same
surprised to, even, I mean, you should not be surprised that he will be getting this very clear that my parents don't trust me enough,
Hmm.
you know.
Thanks so much. I
Please take
have
white
been
chestnut and
thinking.
chicory.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Yeah, this is something I haven't tried, and I should. Loads of it. Thank you so much.
Most welcome. And Deepika, please take and come back to us and let us know if that's making you feel
I will.
better
I will.
and
Yeah,
what
I'll
that
put it on
opens
the
up
group.
for you.
Yeah,
Yes.
how I felt. Yeah, with this. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Aarti, for holding the space.
Thank you. No,
yeah.
it was absolutely brave of you to do this. Yeah. Thank you so much. And I guess this is what we even said when Angela was doing the batch talk on Zoom, that we're going to have these circles where we talk about cases and help each other with the cases. So we will continue with our support groups the same way, more regularly this time, I promise. That we will take a remedy and we will take up a case as well. Thank you so much, everybody. Any more for any questions, any doubts, any shares, any last words on how was today's session? I'm not going to keep you uh back for too long. Yes, Simran.
Hi, Aarti. Uh,
Where are you?
though I have already shared my case regarding my son, and I've been hearing so many things, do you think like you must have read my messages as well regarding my son? He's just 5 years old, and it's been like almost 6 months now. We are struggling to get him better. We have done a number of tests. We have given him a lot of antibiotics, and right now inhalers are going on. Nebulization was done, but nothing seems to work. His I have noticed from past 2 3 days wherein I have introduced white chestnut, SOB, and walnuts for him. I have noticed some little changes that once he is distracted or he is busy somewhere, his cough is little settled. But when he is roaming here and there or sitting idle, he's getting bored, his cough actually persists more. So I am not able to get what should I give him so that I
Did
can
you
make him
try
feel better.
chicory? Somebody had recommended chicory and crab
I
apple.
have given him chicory for almost a month because he was a chicory. He was very clingy on me. So I have given him. I have tried heather as well because he also had otitis media, wherein I've observed the kind of nature wherein he is only saying and not listening.
Hmm, hmm.
But now things have changed, and now I am at a stage where I am not able to do something that which will make him better.
Okay, but now is he still clingy or is he not clingy? Has chicory worked on?
No, he is not clingy at all now.
Okay. So do you want to quickly, for the ones who perhaps have not read your case on the group, do you want to
Yeah.
talk about it?
This thing started actually in the month of October, wherein he was continuously having runny nose and a foul smell from his mouth because his ENT was kind of blocked, or we can say a bit of adenoids were a little large when we did X-ray, and it was like on and off every 14 15 days. We again and again doctor was keeping him on antibiotics because his this infection was increasing day by day, and which leads to otitis media, which is in middle ear blockage, and there was a this pus and all, everything was there. So we went to numerous doctors, hospitals. We did ENT, this endoscopy also, and they recommended for the operation, which I was completely not agreeing on doing such a thing. My husband was also against it. So we also tried our remedies. Chicory was one major, which I was continuously giving him crab apple, chicory, and heather because he was like very, self-image conscious personality as well. And he don't say anything bad about anything, or if we make a mock of him in front of anyone, he'll start fighting with us. He gets angry on that why you're saying these things to me, why you're making fun of me, and am I looking good or not. All these things are coming up from him when we were treating him. And later and later, once antibiotics started, after every 15 20 days the course was repeating. So I was really fed up. I had a call with one ENT in Delhi, which is a well-known ENT doctor. So he recommended to give a high dose of antibiotic for continuously 10 to 15 days, which eventually resulted in that his case was little better, and that continuation of getting his ear pain, ear infection, his runny nose disappeared to some extent. But later on, after this happened in the month of February March, and after that it's been like 2 3 months now. His single cough, which is coming after every 2 to 3 seconds, or say about 30 seconds, every single cough is coming, and we have no apparent reason why it is coming, for what reason it is coming. All tests has been done, no infection is there, nothing is there, but his cough is not going. the सबसे बड़ी मतलब it's a like a surprise कि वो रात को सोता है तो he doesn't cough at all. It's the cough disappears when he's sleeping.
Simran, does he, you said he's 4 years old,
5 years.
5 years. Does he talk at all in terms of how he's feeling and what he wants, or if he's angry? Does he talk about it? I'm not saying showing that he's angry. Does he
Mm-hmm.
express his anger?
No, sometimes he say, I am angry on you because you did something which you should not do it. So earlier he used to throw things as well. बहुत मारता था अपने भाई को भी. इसके हाथ पैर बहुत चलते थे मारने के मामले में. तो I've given him cherry plum as well, which has actually affected a lot. जो उसके रिजल्ट बहुत अच्छे दिखे मैंने कि हाँ उसको असर हुआ है इस चीज का. बट वो टैंट्रम्स पहले बहुत थ्रो करता था, बट अभी वो नहीं कर रहा है.
Hmm.
I've tried GORSE, I've tried chicory, heather, SOB, white chestnut.
When you say you've
Uh,
tried, how long have you given these
Have
remedies?
you tried agrimony?
I have given him agrimony long back, but not recently. I was thinking of giving after this dose of white chestnut, SOB, and walnut will get over.
You need to keep him on agrimony.
Yeah, agree.
Okay.
Because when he's not doing anything, then he gets cough. When he's indulged in things, then he's not happy.
Okay.
When you're
Only
talking
single
about cough,
agrimony?
no, when you're talking about cough, when you're talking about his ENT passage getting
Mm-hmm.
choked, it's an expression which is getting choked.
Okay.
At the age of 4 or 5, we may not be able to typecast his personality as much because his personality is developing from you now.
Right.
Maybe in another 5 years, you'll know exactly who he is independently, right?
Correct.
But right now, from whatever symptoms that you're talking about, it's talking about suppression of expression,
Okay.
right? So it'll have to be from the category of oversensitivity. Second, it will have to be agrimony because, like this pointed out, when he's distracted, he's better. When he's sleeping, better. That's a typical sign of an agrimony.
Agreement.
Okay.
Yeah. The outbursts are the anger outbursts, hitting somebody,
Right.
anger outbursts. Again, agrimony.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So put him on agrimony.
Only single?
No, so right now, whatever you're giving him based on the other things, I think you did mention crabapple also. Continue giving him that because that will help the internal cleansing as well.
Okay.
But give agrimony for some time. I'm not talking about 1 month, 2 months. Give it for some
Mm-hmm.
time till it actually creates a shift in his
Okay.
behavior, in his expression. The body will respond after that.
Hmm. Okay. I'll let you know soon.
Just to add on, Nati, that's the reason I asked her question that the cough increased after the air discharge time. So I
Yeah.
was trying to relate it to agrimony. Since he was a child and we are dealing with the caretaker, and I have to look into physical symptoms and looking for some patterns out of it.
Correct. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Makes sense. Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Simran. And again, please give us an update of how.
I will definitely give.
All right, people, wishing everybody a great evening. I shall see you all soon. I think this works better rather than putting everybody into groups for days. Announcing it on the main group and then, creating a space is much better. So
Yeah,
thank you
that's
for
true. And
participating.
I think you should do it every week because क्या है that touch रहना जरूरी है. A lot
Absolutely.
of people, and I don't know, I'm saying for myself because I go out of touch. So try and do it every week or at least
No,
every
at least
15
every
days.
fortnight. Yeah, every
Huh.
fortnight is very important. We will definitely do this.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, people. I am recording. So I will share it on the main group. So please download it because I'm not going to keep it saved for too long. All right. See you. Have a great evening. Bye
Okay,
bye.
bye. Bye.
Thank you so much, Aarti.
Thank you.
Welcome.